For whatever reason, Sony decided to release the ZV-E10, an APS-C camera that has 95% of the same features as their flagship APS-C camera, the Alpha 6600, and costs €1,000 less. So, what is the catch then? Sony is marketing the ZV-E10, which from now on I will call the Sveto, as a vlogging camera, which I have to actually disagree with strongly. This camera is without a doubt a 3C camera, which stands for Content Creation Camera. Reducing and marketing it to only having one purpose is grossly underselling its value, especially when the main selling point Sony is actually trying to push isn't even the thing the camera is particularly good in. Why, you ask? More on that later. And yes, that is actually a calculated move by me to get you to watch the video for a longer time. Speaking of that, subscribe and hit the like button on your way down there, writing an angry comment about it. This would be very much appreciated. But let's begin at, well, the beginning. I paid €699 for the body-only version, which normally retails for €749. I paid that out of my own pocket. I had to sell my A6100 and had to reinvest another €100 on top of that. Sony hasn't sent me anything, and therefore this review is unbiased. Maybe there is a bit of bias, but who cares? It's just a new camera. The Sveto comes in a very unusual box, for a Sony camera at least. It is very colorful, packed full with glorious images of the camera and accessories, and I have to say, I actually really like it. Inside the box, we have the typical gadgets you get with buying a Sony APS-C camera. Paperwork and a 1-year warranty extension, a strap, a FW50 battery, the normal EU and US plugs and chargers, a USB-C cable. A USB-C cable? Ooh, that's very nice. And you get the Sveto itself. The camera itself has the following features, which I will rattle down now and then pick up on the highlights some more in depth later. This is mostly the ZV-1 packed into an APS-C 24 megapixel crop sensor exchangeable lens body. Wow, okay, what a mouthful. It can shoot videos in 6K oversampled, which means the sensor readout is 6K, which is then compressed into a very sharp 4K image. This 4K image can be shot at up to 30 frames per second, Full HD up to 120 frames per second. It has all of Sony's color grading codecs on board, such as S-Log 2 and 3 as well as HLG, only Cinetone isn't featured here. The Sveto can do real-time tracking, as well as eye autofocus in the video. It records gyro data which can be stabilized in post. It has electronic image stabilization, which isn't actually that great to begin with. The auto button placement compared to its APS-C counterparts, well, it's completely renewed, and now it even looks more like an FX3 than actually an Alpha camera. This focus on filming is also why there isn't any viewfinder. Instead, they integrated a flip-out screen as well as a 3-capsule mic that sits on top of the camera. It can be used as a webcam without any external software, and thanks to its USB-C port, it can actually also be charged through it. It's very light, very affordable, and has only 2 drawbacks. Drawback number 1. Electronic image stabilization, and why this is actually not a vlogging camera. Leech, what are you talking about? Obviously, it's great that Sony added some kind of stabilization in the camera. Well, coming from the APS-C lineup of cameras, I learned to live with the slow readout speed of the sensor. And slow readout speed in real-world terms means your background will actually get wobbly as soon as you actually make fast movements with the camera, which is also called rolling shutter. Maybe you've heard about it. And what do you do when you go out and vlog? Exactly. You walk, which results in fast movement. So the camera tries to autocorrect your movements when you've activated image stabilization, which actually leads to messy images. Oh, and also crops in quite a lot to achieve that, making your 60mm lens actually look like a 35mm lens. I'm pretty sure that Sony had to make some drawbacks on the camera to reduce its price point to €699. And I think they actually killed the one thing that is essential to vloggers. Steady footage that can be uploaded without much work in editing. I think this is the main reason why this shouldn't be marketed as a vlogging camera to begin with. But to Sony's credit, and to me As a content creator, this is absolutely no problem, since I actually take all of my footage into editing anyways, to color grade and correct it. The Sweto is recording gyro data, which can then be used to actually stabilize your footage in Sony's Catalyst browse software. And it works flawlessly. To me, this is a very good compromise in the price to performance ratio. I can still use the camera handheld and get actually rock solid footage in post. Drawback number 2. The battery life is so-so when it comes to vlogging. You always have to keep some extra batteries in your pocket, since shooting over a day keeps actually drowning the batteries fast. It is rated at around 18 minutes of shooting time, which is a bit more than I got from my A6100 that had roughly 17 minutes of battery life. So you normally take 2 batteries with you. If Sony would have actually considered this to be a vlogging camera, they would have added the bigger batteries that I used in the Alpha 6600. But they didn't. This is not a vlogging camera. Why are they actually marketing it as one? Okay, to make it easier, let's put this into perspective. 80 minutes on a single battery can be roughly 1 hour and 20 minutes of footage. Probably a bit less in reality, but at least it's in 4K. With 2 batteries you can get up to 2 hours and 20 minutes of footage, with some calculated downtimes. That's a fucking movie worth of footage. How much stuff are you going to put into your daily vlog? Probably 10 minutes of edited footage at max. Let me tell you this then, learn to shoot only the relevant content. Over time it gets much easier to depict what is actually relevant and what isn't. And if you're not editing it yourself, it is even better for your editor, so he doesn't have to sit through loads of footage to filter out the irrelevant content. What I want to say with that is 80 minutes of runtime on a single battery is enough, especially for a content creation camera. Now that I've hopefully showed you why this is in fact not a vlogging camera, let's see why I think this is actually the perfect content creation camera instead. In my opinion, Sony's APS-C lineup is the perfect combination of weight, features and image quality when it comes to creating content for especially YouTube without the need to spend $5,000 on a camera setup. But somehow Sony decided to cannibalize all of the APS-C camera sales in terms of adding everything a content creator needs into this tiny $699 package. You don't believe me? Let me show you. They added the top-of-the-line, state-of-the-art, real-time autofocus with eye tracking from the 6600 camera into this one. It works flawlessly and is really reliable. Coming from the 6100, this is blowing that autofocus out of the water in terms of speed and precision. So let's actually see how fast the Sony autoprogram is in actually keeping my face in the perfect lighting situations. I built a small parkour with lights and darkness. Step into it. Oh, that was actually quite fast. These are 1.5 lights, now even more. Oh, that's actually not that bad either. And let's step out into darkness. Wow, that is actually quite impressive. Oh, and as a cherry on top, they added the product showcase button from the ZV-E10 as well, which switches razor fast between your face and the product you're holding in front of the lens. So this is the product showcase mode, and I'm going to be an influencer for a second, and I'm going to sell you this lens. And now it's me again, because influencers always lens. Woo! Tell me this isn't the most content creator move you've seen all day. This is actually basically Influencer 101. And I have to say, it's a bloody brilliant idea. They also added the sideway flip screen from the ZV-E10, showing you with a bright red ring around the screen when you are recording, as well as a small indicator light at the front of the camera that actually turns red. The screen flipping to the side is so much better, especially when you are using a shotgun mic on top of the camera. Speaking of mics, they also added the ZV-E10's 3-capsule directional microphone, which is, and I really don't like the regular onboard sound you normally actually get, quite usable. Even in windy situations outside when you add a dead cat onto it. Of course, it's not as good as an external shotgun mic. And now this is actually the sound from the onboard microphones, and it is better than I actually thought it would be. Then they added all their great codecs such as S-Log 2 and 3 as well as HLG, which was previously only available in the higher tiered models like the 64 and 6600. Oh, and it also features the 66's updated color science. Okay, that's still not enough for you? Okay, the regular hot shoe mount is now actually a multi-interface mount, which lets you use all the nice Sony hot shoe accessories like their shotgun mic lineup, which works without cables or batteries. They also added the dedicated CV1 bokeh button in this camera, which automatically, based on the sensor readout and your used lens, cranks up all the settings to the max instantaneously to give you the so much desired blurred out background without needing to know all the settings. For a beginner content creator, this is actually a genius addition. Let's say you're not shooting video for YouTube, but you're actually shooting content for TikTok, which is vertical content. Previously, you actually had to rotate your camera, then you record your footage, and then in post, you re-rotate your footage because it wasn't saved from wide footage to a vertical one. Nope. The camera now recognizes and saves the metadata so that you can immediately upload the footage actually without any more steps in between. But you want even more things? Okay, let's do the final few points in a speed round. It's much lighter than the 6600, 160 grams to be precise, which is great if you want to pack it onto your gimbal. The lighter the package, the easier it is to balance it in the end. It now can actually be charged to USB-C, which means you can not only use a Sony's charger, but also a USB-C power bank if you are outside and on the go. It does not only has a mic jack, but also a headphone jack to monitor the audio if you are actually not the person which is in front of the camera, but behind it. Oh, and maybe you haven't thought about that previously, but content creation isn't actually only on-demand video. It's also live footage, streaming to be precise, not only in a work home office Zoom kind of way, but also with content creators on Twitch or YouTube Live. And Sony actually made that really easy. How easy, you ask? Well, you take a USB-C cable and you plug it in. That's it, nothing needs to be placed in between to capture the footage, no dongles needed. And you can use all of the benefits that actually come with an interchangeable lens system. Better images make you look much more professional. Oh, okay, I actually forgot to mention another thing that they built in, which is skin smoothing software. But that's just plain stupid. I don't want to say much about it. I actually really don't like it. After hearing all of that, do you still think this is actually not the perfect content creation camera with all of its features, and it's a very affordable price point of $699 for the body and $799 for the body kit lens combo? And the even more important question is the following. Why would anybody invest $1,000 more into the Alpha 6600, which has only 4 advantages that aren't even that important? A tad more battery life. It's weather sealed, okay. It has integrated IBIS and an electronic viewfinder. For $1,000 on top of the $699 for the camera body, you can actually get a very good lens like the Sigma 30mm f1.4 for roughly 340 euros. A Rode VideoMic NTG which can be used on the camera or as a separate boom mic if you want to in your studio for 240 euros. A key light plus the softbox from Godox for roughly another 200 euros, and then you still have 250 euros left to buy some small RGB lights, some accessories, some filters or whatever. So for the price of one 6600 body, you can get a complete content creation starter set that is as good in terms of quality and features. Man, actually, what a time to start your journey into content creation. So, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this review. And I would love to hear your feedback and thoughts on the Sony ZV-E10 in the comments below. And actually on the name as well, ZV-E10 sounds kind of weird. My name was Leech and I'm off writing the next scripts. Have a great day and until next time, goodbye.